The finger pointing over the latest government shutdown began well before the shutdown itself started at midnight last night. So how long might this shutdown and the fallout last? And who gets the blame come the midterms in November? Let's bring in Washington Times editor-at-large, Alex Swoyer. So take on that last question first, Alex, if you would. Who gets the blame for this one?
Well, historically, we know the party in charge, and usually Republicans get blamed for government shutdowns. So I'm sure the House Speaker, lawmakers are hurrying to get back to Washington, figure this out, maybe huddle, do some sort of meetings over the weekend, see what they can come up with what the Senate has handed over to them now. I think that we already know Republicans kind of have an uphill climb when it comes to the midterms. That's because historically the president's party tends not to do very well. I think it's 20 of the last 22 midterms they've lost ground. So they already had an uphill climb. The last thing they need really is for a lengthy government shutdown to occur. Right now we're looking at, what could be days. I know Democrats would love it to go longer. They've made a history of trying to prove points that under President Trump, they've had the longest government shutdown during the first administration. I think it was around 35 days. And then just recently, we went through this last year with 43 days of a shutdown. So I think, Democrats are playing their hand. They know what polling says about the blame, what you just referenced. And I think Republicans, it would fall on them.
But it seems like, Democrats are shutting down the government this time specifically because they're upset with ICE and Department of Homeland Security,
Yes.
right? So it's.
That's exactly right. And you know what? When I was thinking about this, I always like to look at history as a guiding factor. And that's why I said Republicans, I think it's harder for them. But you're right, with Democrats being the one refusing really to fund DHS and ICE. And it reminds you of the calls to that's a form of pleasing the left wing, the progressive wing, calling to abolish ICE. And it's reminiscent of 2020. Remember the defund police movement. And there was so much reporting and really Democrats scrambling to reinvent, exactly that wording because it didn't play well. I think there was a ABC poll I actually just referenced from 2020 that showed an overwhelming 64% of voters disagreed with that push to defund the police. And also, I think it was 1 in 3 independents in recent polling, independent voters are against abolishing ICE. So Democrats, when they use the far left wing of their base, use this language, and then in turn they shut down the government to please that wing of their base. That's not going to play well. The only reason I think that Republicans might have a steeper hill to climb is just based on history, based on the president's party losing ground, and also that they're the party in charge. And polling usually shows that's where the finger pointing goes.
The president was elected in large part on a promise to stem illegal immigration. So now that ICE is out arresting illegal immigrants, and especially the violent and offenders among them, I guess people have short memories.
I think you're right. And I think it's important that Republicans, especially President Trump, go out there and talk about the success they've had on the border. I mean, the number of these self-deportations that have happened have helped eliminate the stress, really, that these agents are facing unprecedented stress and the assaults and the threats that they're having to go. But the blame really is found in these sanctuary cities. For example, what's happening in Minneapolis, if ICE agents were allowed to go to the jails and hand over these criminal illegal aliens that way, you would not have all this falling out on the public streets. You wouldn't have these protesters able to obstruct these arrests. And I think that's where we're really seeing the violence and the assaults. And I think the Republicans really need to work on that messaging and make sure that the public understands that. And part of that, this fight, when we're talking about government funding, is Democrats want to eliminate administrative warrants to allow the ICE agents to go and sign off and able to go get these criminal illegal aliens. They want judges to do that. And we know if you go to the right forum, if you go to a liberal venue, you're going to have a judge that may refuse to do that.
Alex Swoyer, editor-at-large at the Washington Times. Alex, thank you.
Thank you.